sexiest man alive.
We did grow up together, and he was in one of my mixed classes. I think it was the first and second graders, and he was in my class, and we played a little bit, got to know each other. Really weren't close friends though. But then we got separated next couple of years, and then when I went to the junior high school, which was Margar, I saw him. I'm like, I remember you. We caught up, and then we went to high school together as well. The crew back then was me, John, Corey, Gary, Zach, John, all of us. That was mainly the crew back then. That was our clique. John, I have nothing bad to say about him. He was a good guy. We still talk to this day. He's a good athlete. He was a high school football player. He did really well except for that knee injury. He achieved a lot. He was in my backyard leagues, the MWF and the MWA, and he's the one that dislocated my shoulder. But John Jr. was a good guy, and I remember a lot about him growing up. I remember that he was in a pretty bad car accident a couple years ago, but he survived. He's good, and he's just a good guy, and he's come over for my pay-per-view bashes. He was at probably my birthday party a couple of times. I know last year he was, but it's just a lot of fun to be around him. He's a good guy. He's comical. Danya never had chance to wrestle DILO. Danya knew DILO was stud, but Danya never had chance to wrestle DILO. Danya always, was an NWF. Danya wanted to wrestle, but you asking me about John, Johnny not a good man, Danya. He good man. He knew good. Once Danya at MWF show, he cooked cookies. He made baked cookies for Roy, fresh baked. He was always good man, and Roy loved DILO. Roy loved DILO like own son. Roy taught Danya. He taught Corey Telemeo. He taught Zach. He tried to teach him how to kick. Now Roy never knew Zach, but DILO, Roy knew Marge, and Roy and Marge used to cook together. We used to make baked lasagna and spaghetti and meatballs, and Danya knew that, and Danya did very well. John Dionardo, yeah, of course I know him. He used to work at Food Basics in 2004 for a little bit, and he was also, I worked with him in the MWA. I called a couple of his matches, one of his matches, the most noticeable match against Cash Money, and I also called the match when he broke Double D's shoulder. But he's a good guy. He can fool around out sometimes and not know when to be too serious, but he's a good guy, and overall I enjoyed working with him at Food Basics as his store manager, and I enjoyed calling his matches in MWA, because when it comes to wrestling, he's the hell of a guy. He knows how to put on a show. Oh my God, does he? Well, yes, from what I've heard, John was big on the high school football scene. Played for the Middlesex Blue Jays a few years of his high school career, and he did very well. I'm not quite sure what position he did fairly well in. Then of course, I think it was his senior year, came that knee injury that put him on the sideline for a while. He did in the backyard that year, but you learn your injuries, and it's something that happens with athletes, local and pro. So, I went to high school with John, so I know about him, how big he was in the town football team, and he was good. The Blue Jays, have their good and bad seasons, but I think he did very well, and of course there was the injury. He was a good athlete in football, but right now I'm a little hungry. But I can tell you right now that I knew John Dionardo was a good football player, and I wish I was alive to go to the games. But I'm really hungry right now, so I can't really talk. But he was a good athlete, and he was really good at football, and he was a good athlete and great in soccer and everything. And I wish I could play with him, because I'm just such a playful puppy. But overall he was good, but I can't talk right now. I'm really hungry. Please feed me. Me, Daddy was a good football player, and I remember doing some of the games with Daddy. He did really well, and when he hit his leg, it really upset me, because Daddy was a great player for me. But I know he got the physical therapy, and he renourished his leg back to better health. Good job, Daddy. He tore or something, I believe. But you know, injuries happen. I mean, my shoulder, that was an accident, but that wasn't planned. Injuries happen. He hurt his leg, but before that, you know, he was a fine athlete, and even afterward, he was a fine athlete, you know. But he worked his way back, did the physical therapy, whatever he had to do, and he made it well. So, but he was a hell of an athlete in high school. Anyone, you know, picked on me, there was DILO, ready to back me up. You know, he was just 100% pure athlete. I mean, he worked out, big muscular guy, and that's what happened. Double D and the stud connect. We are good friends. We were part of the same clique in high school. So, well, you're gonna ask me about John DiLeonardo's football career. Well, you know, I was there for most of it. You know, he was good, and of course, you know about the leg injury. But yeah, I followed John all through it, and you know, I called his matches in MWF, so I know all about him. And he did good. Football was probably one of his strong points, and I like to work out, and he likes to work out. And oh man, John DiLeonardo, a hell of an athlete, Mr. Powers, coming from me. Trust me, I know. You know, I personally believe that the Blue Jays had their best season when they had DILO, Talamayo. That was their Provel. That was their best season because they're all my buddies. You know, I like to watch them. But high school memories, John DiLeonardo, great football player, great athlete. So yeah. Danya went to some high school games back then, and Danya saw DILO on field. DILO did very good. Excuse me, Danya, I went to my Korean country. This is very this is like Chester used to make, non-alcoholic beverage. Anyways, Danya saw DILO on field. DILO, hell of athlete. DILO, good athlete. DILO know how to play football. We know how to play football. Football, good sport. DILO did well, Danya. Doing well in football. Do good in school. Danya know all about school. Danya, good man. Danya, drink. Danya, eat. Danya, do whatever you want. Danya retired, but this ain't about Danya. About DILO. Good athlete, football player all the way. Danya saw my name. He good, Danya. We gonna coach Blue Jays. We know all about it. Danya, love it. You know how John got into backyarding was, you know, thanks to me. You know, it was 2002. The MWF came back for its second season. We were still going pretty strong, so I wanted some new talent because at the time Brian Fink was away for a little bit. He had some business to take care of or something, so I brought in some new guys. I approached and brought in Corey Talamayo. He was the Iron Dashiki. I brought in Gary Provel, who used his real name, and I brought in John DiLeonardo. And he wanted to wrestle name the Stud, you know, this cute baby face guy, you know, coming out, you know, loving the crowd, you know, stud pose. And it just worked so well. I mean, some of the other wrestlers weren't too fond of him coming, but I liked it, you know. I think his wrestling skills were good, and his first match was on a Raw in 2002 in the